Good morning. How is everybody doing? Hello, I see everybody's coming in to join us for Friday. There's Jamie and Sarah. Mercedes, hello Sarah. Hello Annie, good morning. Becky and Linda. Amanda and Gabby, hello and welcome. Sarah from Maine, hello Bree. Jill, good morning from Canada. Our neighbors to the north. All right, Janice has her coffee. Caitlin, first time live, welcome, welcome. Basic format of the show is gonna be drink coffee, fold laundry. The patient, Kelly, is doing great. He is sitting in his chair next to me. So, hey Greg. Hello, Victoria. Welcome. Victoria says hello, single divorced mom of 3 from South Georgia. Welcome, welcome. Yes, Jocelyn, I am up after a night of no sleep. Yes. All right, unload those dishwashers. Find yourself a coffee cup. So, as you guys know, and we've been talking about here, we've made some big changes around the house health-wise because we have had some issues pop up with the business manager, with his blood pressure and different things. And then some of the pieces I hadn't been sharing yet because we weren't sort of ready to talk about that. We were putting them together. Good morning, Jackie and Abby and Cassandra and Genevieve. But he had an abnormal stress test and an abnormal EKG. Echocardiogram was good, but there were all of these other things that were going on, and we were all kind of just... the kids didn't know what was going on, but we were just trying to figure out what it is that we needed to do. And then we finally got into a cardiologist in town. On the business manager's birthday. And we're told that he needed to have a heart cath. And he was going to be having that heart cath on Thursday, the next day. So we kind of went into a bit of panic mode to try and get what we needed to get done so that we could be prepped for this. And then we, it was hurry up and wait. We hurry up, we got to the hospital and then got pushed back several hours for his test. And so it was just you're sitting there nervous waiting, right? So they were very nice when they brought us in, but they, of course, every nurse there who was trying to be super polite, and they were like, oh my gosh, you're so young, you shouldn't be here. And it's like, thanks for reminding us. We don't want to be here, but thank you for having us. Hey Jenny, hey Pammy, hey Margie. Coming in hot. This is from my FabFitFun box. So they're getting ready. They're asking him all these questions. And of course, because I'm completely inappropriate and I have no filter and I get super nervous. When I'm super nervous, I make even more inappropriate jokes that you really shouldn't, especially in a medical situation, right? But of course, I can't help myself. So we're sitting there and they're asking him questions like, do you drink? Do you this? Do you that? And they're like, recreational drugs. And I'm like, just crack cocaine. And the woman looks at me and she's like, you do crack, sir? And I was like, no, I'm sorry. That was just an inappropriate joke. And then she's like, do you smoke? And I'm like, only hash. And I'm like, okay, I have to stop. This woman is going to think that I'm a complete lunatic. But I was just nervous, right? So then as they're asking us questions, they're like, okay, so I'm going to put you down as emergency contact so we can come and find you when he's done with his procedure. You're the wife. And I'm like, nope, the girlfriend. This poor girl the whole time. She's like, you're the girlfriend? And I'm like, yeah, the wife is a real B. I was like, she's the worst. I was like, you do not want to meet this man's wife. And she's, and her eyes.
Did you notice that she left and didn't come back?
Her eyes went like this. She left the curtain area.
Had the other nurse finish.
And then another nurse came in, and I was like, I really have to stop doing this to this poor girl, you know? And she was young too. And I was just like, so of course so I said to the other nurse that were coming, I'm like, yes, I'm his wife. We were just joking. I said, I get very uncomfortable and I make jokes when I'm nervous. And I said, and we're nervous. So we're having a good time, you know, just chatting or whatever. So then she comes in. Yeah, mistress. No, I said girlfriend. I should have said mistress.
No, you said mistress.
Did I say mistress at first? I think I may have said mistress at first, and then we were joking, and I'm like, just the girlfriend, blah, 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 and whatever. And so, yeah, I think I did, because I feel like mistress is fancy, and that's probably why I said it, because I feel like I should be a fancy mistress. So then she walks back in with clippers, and she's like, we have to shave your arm. Because he's going to do the heart cath through your vein in your arm or artery or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, so he's like holding his arm up and she's shaving. And then she looks at him and she's like, and now the groin. And we're like, whoa, why are you shaving his downstairs parts? What's going on? And she's like, just in case they can't use the wrist, we've got to shave the groin so that it's ready. We need to be ready for that. And so all of a sudden, I'm sitting right next to her. The poor business manager is laying here. She lifts it up. He's naked, right? And she's just, brrr, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh my God.
It's cold in the room.
And all Dave kept saying was, it's really cold in here. It's very cold in here. And I'm sitting here and I'm like this. I'm like, oh my God. She's just like picking it up and like shaving things and like moving it. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching this. And I'm like, oh God, okay. So then finally she was done. And, you know, everybody was just really, really nice. But then it was hurry up and wait for a really long time. I know, Michelle, they're all putting in eggplants now. But it was just, I mean, and you have to think about it. How many times a day is she shaving somebody's crotch, right? This poor woman has to do this for everybody that comes through because it's a heart cath lab. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh God, this is awesome, right? So, you know, obviously she's not embarrassed by it, right? Because it's like she has to do it. It's part of the job. But he was just so funny. It's very cold in here. He was just trying to make it be known to like the entire floor. Very cold. It's very cold in here. And I was like, yes, honey, it's very cold in here. Mm-hmm. She was pushing it like a vacuum cleaner, you know, and I'm just like sitting there and I'm watching like hair fly and I'm just like, oh my God. So then eventually it's his turn. So he gets taken back.
She touched the gold.
He gets taken back. He had a nice little Valium, a pill. They gave him a little pill of Valium, and he was calmed down, and he was telling some jokes. He kept trying to fish with his IV line. He was like throwing it and like trying to hit me with it, and I was like, okay, so he's relaxed now. So then we get to him taking him back, and then you know, and I was really proud of myself up until this point because I hadn't like lost it. I was keeping it. I was in the pool. Yes, I know. I was in the pool. There was shrinkage. Yeah. So I was like keeping it together, and I was like, this is going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay, no matter what. Even if they have to. Yeah. No matter what. Even if they have to do a stent. Even if we're looking at blocked arteries, like we can fix this. It's going to be okay. You know, like I just kept talking myself through it, and of course Eric I told him not to show up. He showed up because he's just a delight, and he sat with me, and Dave's dad was there, and so we were just sitting there, and we were just waiting, and, you know, eventually the doctor pops his head around in the waiting room, and he was just like, your husband's great. His heart cath was clear. Like, your husband's heart is wonderful. Everything that you're doing is working. All you have to do now is work on his blood pressure, and it was just like this massive weight had been lifted, and I was just like, oh, thank you, Lord. And so of course that's the moment when I start to like cry because I'm like, oh, okay, you know, like it was too much. Like, it was just too much. Like, I had been trying to keep this together for the last 3 months, and it was just at that point, it was like, no, it's been too much. I'm just done. And I was just frazzled. And so, then they basically just said, we don't think you need to take cholesterol meds at this point. We're just going to continue to keep you on your blood pressure pills because your blood pressure, this all started with a hypertensive crisis back in May. So, but his heart, the abnormal EKG was just, they happen, I guess, or not EKG, stress test. They happen, and so after he had done every test and like 3 out of the however many were wonky, they have to send you for a heart cath. And of course, when they're sending you for a heart cath and they're telling you all of this, they're like, potential for 70% blocked arteries and this, that, and the other thing. And you just start thinking, like, how on earth? Daniela, that's so funny. So, but it was wonderful news. So now all we have to do is he's got to lose like another 5 to 7 pounds.
I've lost 28 pounds to date.
28 pounds so far. He has another 5 pounds or so. Rosemary, I'm so sorry that you feel like I'm taking too long to tell this story. Here's the best part about this. You don't have to stay and listen. Just go watch something else. I'm sorry, I'm in way too good of a mood. I had to pull that troll. Okay. So Wednesday's up there. Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys. I'm so happy that it all came out well. We were so relieved. Oh, Megan, I can't even imagine. So it was just one of those things where we finally got some closure to these other parts, and now we're just going to finish working on continuing with our diet, continuing with a little bit more weight loss, and just getting just to be as super healthy as we possibly can. This was a true wake-up call for our family and for the choices that we make, for our decisions with food and exercise and all of that. No, but I'll check it out, Tony.
The example for the kids.
And we're trying to set a better example for the kids with how we're eating, how much we're eating, and the choices that we're making. And it's not an easy transition when you're used to going through the drive-through 2 or 3 nights a week to save time. But it is definitely something that is so needed. And so we are going to stick with it and continue what we're doing. So yeah, so we are very happy, and we are very blessed to have you guys, because so many of you emailed me and messaged me and posted yesterday, and I just want to say thank you. It really was amazing to see all you guys message, and it made me feel a whole lot better. And I was trying to message back as I could. We got home last night, and we stayed up until about midnight because I wanted to watch Well, we got worried. I got panicked because as they're discharging him, they're like, you have to watch this clot right here that we created for where we went into his artery, because if this clot dislodges, he'll bleed out and die. And I'm like, what? I was like, you're going to let me take him home with the potential that this clot could burst and like he could bleed out and die? And she's like, oh, it won't happen. You'll be fine. So of course the entire night I'm like waking up and I'm like looking at his wrist to make sure that everything is fine. And then I'm like, because he's moving all over the bed, I'm like moving his arm back down on a pillow and I'm like trying to keep it together. So every hour I was like waking up to check on his wrist. And, you know, it was fine. But, you know, of course I was just at that point, I'm just panicking because I'm like, who the hell sends you home and tells you that? So anyway, so yeah, so there's that. And now I have to...
Yes. Kelly said it's important to lower stress levels.
Yes, and that's the other thing too, is I think a lot of us are really bad. I think a lot of us are really bad with how we deal with our stress, how we manage our stress, and we don't realize that we are as stressed as we are, and then we internalize it. And
I think it's better to let everything out instead of internalize it.
You're the worst at internalizing everything. He will yell at me for stuff that happened 6 months ago.
I don't yell.
Oh, the businessman. You guys all think that I'm the only yeller in this house. I'm sure of it. I have news for you. Okay. He is a yeller. He will yell. But the problem is he'll be yelling at me for something and I'm like, why are you mad? And he's like, do you remember in January? And I'm like, January? It's July. And he is mad at me from something that happened 6 months ago.
Whatever.
Yeah. No, that's a true story. Yeah, no, Diane, we did see the cardiologist and all is well. He was given a clean bill, so we are.
He said he didn't want to see me again.
Oh, if you're in North Tampa, you can come and see us on July 22nd, correct? Sunday, July 22nd at Waterworks Bar and Grill. Eric and I will be there pre-gaming for the Cat and Nat Fun Show. And the event is on our Facebook page. So if you're in the Tampa area and you want to come hang out on July 22nd at 5 o'clock, I believe, you can come hang out with us. And they're doing happy hour specials for us. Yes, and people handle stress differently, so but he was a big internalizer, so we've been working on that. But yeah, we're south, Tony. So any hoozle McToozle. So today we are taking this one to the vet because her allergies are out of control. I gotta go get something else for her. She's chewed her paws to where they are bleeding and she is limping. So I have to run her into the vet, and then I promised the kids special treat day when we pick them up from school because they've been so great because they really haven't had any clue as to what's been going on, but they just know that we're changing things with our diet or whatever, but they didn't realize like this other stress that we were going through. So since we feel like this weight has kind of been lifted, we told them we'll stop on the way home for a little treat, maybe get them like an icy or something and, decompress for a second on a Friday night. But, it's so scary because tomorrow is not promised, people. So if you need to make a change, if you need to, you haven't had your physical, if you've not had your women's well visit, if you've not had a breast exam, if you've not had your mammogram, if you've not had your pap smear, if you've not gone and women, the heart disease is the #1 killer of women. Like, go and get yourselves checked out. Make sure you're getting your physical every year and all your blood work.
I always thought it was breast cancer.
Yeah, know your numbers, know all of that, because tomorrow is not promised, guys. It truly is not, and we need to be responsible for ourselves, and we need to take care of ourselves for our families, for our kids, and so we really do. Yes, it's a mini schnauzer, and she stopped chewing, please. I love you. I'm gonna take you to the vet. Stop. Poor dog. So it is just.
Oh, Deborah doesn't know what happened. I had a heart cath.
The BM had a heart cath, Deborah, and so we were just talking about how tomorrow is not promised. Yes, we have school. Everybody was all confused yesterday when we dropped the kids off from school, for school. Year-round school. A couple of the schools in our area have year-round calendars, which means they go back mid-July, and then they have several breaks throughout the year that make up the rest of the vacation. My oldest is still on summer break. He doesn't go back till mid-August. But then, like, they'll have 2 weeks off in October. They'll have an extra break in December. They'll have 2 weeks off for spring break instead of one. Yeah, Beth, I'm gonna definitely go get her the proper. Please stop. I love you so much. But she's just chewing those paws and they're bleeding. And she's, when you wake up in the middle of the night because the dog's licking themselves and it's like, dog, stop. And she can't because she's just itchy. So we do our absolute very best to be as transparent as we possibly can. We tell you guys everything that's going on. We tell you the truth. We tell you about the trials that we're going through. And I wrote that yesterday and shared that out because I wanted you guys to know all of the parts and pieces over the past couple of months. And I'm a firm believer. Somebody told me once that the stories that we tell are not ours. They're for someone else. And that what that means to me is that it's our job to tell stories because somebody else needs to hear this information. And so I wanted to share that because it seems to me that this, we need to have this conversation more. We need to talk about, our health and what we're doing, and if we're making the right choices. Are we seeing our doctors? Are we doing the things that we need to do? So yeah, and this is real life. This is all I have to offer you. Laundry, coffee, and Apparently stories that take too long to tell. So there's that. Yeah, I know. It's this time of year. It happens. It always happens this time of year. It's from the rain, and then the grass gets wet, and whatever's on the grass gets into the dog's paws, and then they just chew. I have coconut oil too. I'm gonna see what the vet says, but I better be leaving there with some meds because this poor dog is dying. She is so itchy. Yeah. Epiquel, I know. I heard about that. I just hope it's not super expensive. Hey, Carol. Yes, I'm going to, Terry. Oh, see? And so I'm so glad you took him to the hospital, Susan. Oh, thank you, Audra. And Christina. Good morning, Nina. So, yes. Yes, and I have had my physical already this year. I've had my blood done. I had that back in March, April, my own physical.
Yeah.
And then I had my first mammogram this year. And so it's, everything to my knowledge is all good. I've never missed a physical since I had my esophageal tumor back in 2014. I'm always under the assumption that I'm growing a tumor somewhere, so I go to the doctors. But that's what gave me my perspective. See, because here's the other thing about
Jennifer
this.
in Canada, how you doing?
Hey, Jennifer. Here's the other thing about this. And before we wrap this up today, this is the one thing that I will say. We all seem to think, and this is just because we're human, I think, we all think we're immortal. We all think that everything is going to be just fine and that we will live forever. I don't know why we think that, but we do. And then something happens, some event, some medical thing, we see somebody whom we love, get sick or something, and we start to understand and we figure out that we, in fact, are not immortal. And when that happens, we have a little bit of a crisis, right? Whether it's a midlife crisis or whatever, you have a little bit of a crisis because you have to realize that life is very fragile. And when that happens, perspective changes, point of view changes, all of these things change, right? And so it's just one of those things where you have to really figure this stuff out, right? This had already happened for me back at 34 when I was told, you have an esophageal tumor. If it's cancer, not going to make it, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. I had to face my own mortality, and I had to understand that if I were to not be here anymore, what does that look like, right? And so I did that at 34, and it completely changed my life for the better. I'm super grateful for the tumor that I had, and because it brought me to the point that I am today. Brought me here, brought me to you guys, brought me to this community. But this was my husband's first brush of, I'm not immortal. There's potential that I could not live forever. And that was tough for him. I don't know what happened. I just see somebody saying, I'm sorry, Linda. So I didn't read it, but prayers and hugs to Linda. We are here for you. Yes, Sabrina, and that's what I'm saying. So life is so short. So that's why we have these little crises, right? And we kind of look at stuff and it's like, oh, okay. What's really important? What is really important? There you go, Heather. Yeah. So it has been a tough 3 months, but we are on the right track. We are going to get his blood pressure under control, and we are going to be much healthier moving forward. And we're going to continue to share oh my gosh. Okay, Mary, I'm going to have to reach out to her. Sorry, Linda. Message me on the page. Message me here. So we're going to continue to share everything that we're doing and everything that's going on like we have been.
And the parents' page for
And we also have the That's Inappropriate Parents page for all of the things that are going on.
Posting.
Lots of women are posting over there. Lots of great content going up over there. Yep.
There's a public parents community.
And it's a public parenting community. So we have that as well. So I just want to say thank you guys for all of the support. Thank you for being here. Yes. And I just prayers and love to Linda. We are so very sorry for your loss. And you guys, we will see you next week for Wines Day for sure. But of course, you always know where to find me here on the page. You can always message me here. Make sure to check out the That's Inappropriate Parents page. Check out all the fun, cool things that we've got going on. The That's Inappropriate community is taking a cruise October 4th, 2019. That information is on the website at that'sinappropriate.com. So all of the things that you need to know. And of course, you can always message me here because we are always here for you. All right, guys, have a great day. I'm going to take that one to the vet. You have a great weekend. And as always, we're here for you. Bye.